between these screams and these yells of, where is she? Where is she? And so I go down and I thought I was going to die.
The American way includes values that we hold dear, like honesty, not things like clout chasing. Our next guest experienced firsthand what happened on Capitol Hill on January the 6th, and she takes issue with AOC's version of events. She is not questioning the trauma that may have been inflicted on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, just the accuracy of her story. And joining us now to talk more about this is South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Congresswoman, pleasure to have you on the show. This is a real issue, and I don't think people understand the mechanics of what was going on here. So the Cannon office building is a separate office building. It's not in the Capitol.
Correct.
It's connected to the Capitol by underground tunnels, but it is not a part of the U.S. Capitol building. It's across the street. Your office is a couple doors down. Tell me what you experienced on January 6th.
Right. And my office is 2 doors down, and I've never once discounted anybody's experiences that day. This was a horrific day in our nation's history. I've been very vocal and outspoken about what I was feeling, the things we were seeing. This was a violent attack on our nation's capital, and we all felt like we were sitting ducks, and I've never belittled or discounted that. But when we were in lockdown in our office buildings in Cannon, it is a 7 to 10 minute walk away under the tunnels from the Capitol Dome where the insurrectionists were. I simply stated last Thursday, in fact, that there were no insurrectionists, no violent rioters in our hallway, and AOC went apocalyptic. And I've been living rent-free in her Twitter feed for several days last week, going into the weekend, just by simply stating a fact. And in fact, disparaging the Capitol Hill police last week, she did that, and she disparaged them in January, when in fact they were the ones protecting us. The Capitol Hill police were the only ones between us and the violent rioters, and they were there to keep us safe. And when they knocked on our door, it wasn't banging. It was simply to come in and say, we're in lockdown, there's a threat, and you need to be evacuated because of the threat. And there were 2 pipe bombs that were found, not 1, but 2, one at the Democratic Party headquarters and one at the Republican headquarters. I find out, figure that out later that day, that I actually walked by the Republican headquarters to get into my office building that day, where a pipe bomb was planted. So these are serious times, that we discount and dilute the experiences of other people when we want to play with the facts. And I simply was just pointing out that there were no insurrectionists in our hallway, and people just went crazy.
Yeah.
And I deal in facts and not fiction.
Well, and I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. I'm glad you have come on to talk about this. The term is called clout chasing.
Yeah.
It's when something happens that somebody wasn't a part of directly, but they want to try to sort of steal some of the attention. And this is just, it's so interesting because people think, okay, so Congresswoman Mace's office and AOC's office must be right in the U.S. Capitol. No, you're across the street in a separate building. There was nobody in your hallway, and that was Capitol Police that knocked on the door. And they might have said, where is she? But it was in an effort to protect and not hurt. I want to show a tweet that you sent out.
Absolutely.
This is a tweet that you put out right after this happened, where you said AOC made clear she didn't know who was at her door. Breathless attempts by the media to fan fictitious news flames are dangerous. My office is 2 doors down. Insurrectionists never stormed our hallway. Now, you're not trying to discount what happened, but it's just when somebody lies,
no, not at all.
You're trying to tell the truth.
Right. And in fact, my initial tweet was simply to point out in Newsweek that they partially fabricated her experiences and her comments. They stretched it, they exaggerated it to what it was not. And then when I saw some of the stories being picked up, I just wanted to make very clear that was on Wednesday when I went after Newsweek, and I was actually defending AOC's comments. And the next day, I simply just said, I wanted to make very clear that there were no insurrectionists in our hallway. And everyone on social media, including AOC and Ilhan Omar, went crazy over my statement of fact, my statement of truth. And, some say you can judge a woman by her enemies. And if my enemy is the squad, then that's going to be a badge of honor, because we have no room for fictitious experiences. We need to be honest about what happened on January 6th. I've been one of the most vocal members of my party about the events of that day and leading up to it. Someone threatened to shoot me on social media in the days leading up to January 6th. I mean, these are very serious times. And I want to have an honest conversation about what it was. At one point during the experience, I was actually stuck in the tunnels under the Capitol during one of the times that we were locked out of the Cannon office building. I find out a couple weeks later, reading police reports, that there were insurrectionists that knew that some members were down there and they were trying to find us, to capture us. And so these are very serious events that day.
Yeah. So just to be clear, AOC is not being honest about her experience.
Right. Well, there were no, I'm simply saying all of us were afraid and terrified. I'm not going to discount or belittle her experiences. There were absolutely no insurrectionists in our hallway that day.
Congresswoman, thank you so much.
Not in that immediate threat if you were in your office.
I appreciate you coming on with us. I hope to see you again. By the way, the Waffle House shirt, absolutely love it. I know you're from the Low Country, but yeah, no, I know the Waffle House Index. I'm very familiar. I used to work down in Florida, so
it's great. I dropped out of school when I was 17. It was my first job, and I love a $2 cup of coffee at the Waffle House. It's the best.
I'm right there with you, Congresswoman. Come back and see us here on Wake Up America. We appreciate it. Thanks for your honesty.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.